So, it's 2024, and you've probably heard the name Half-Life 2 thrown around a million times by now. Maybe you played it when it first came out in 2004, or maybe you've just heard the legends. But here's the thing. This isn't just some old game that everyone keeps talking about because of nostalgia. Half-Life 2 is still, even today, one of the most incredible gaming experiences you can have. And if you haven't picked it up in a while, or if you've never played it, now is the perfect time to dive back in. Let's start with the story. Half-Life 2 isn't about dumping a ton of cutscenes on you or making you sit through long dialogues. It's about being in a world that feels so real, you forget it's a game. The story unfolds around you, and you're not just watching it, you're living it. Every time you turn a corner or walk into a new area, there's something to discover, something that adds to the bigger picture. It's a story that doesn't hold your hand, but trusts you to piece it all together. And even today, that's something you don't see often in games. Now let's talk about the atmosphere. City 17. Man, what a place. You've got these massive, towering buildings that just loom over you, and there's this constant sense that you're being watched. The world feels oppressive, and you can almost feel the weight of the Combine's control pressing down on you. Even in 2024, walking through those streets is an experience. It's not just about the graphics, although for its time, they were groundbreaking. It's about how the world makes you feel. There's this eerie quiet, with only the sounds of distant machinery or the occasional announcement from a Combine officer to break the silence. It's a masterclass in creating atmosphere, and honestly, few games today can match it. Then there's the gameplay, which was revolutionary back in the day and still feels damn good now. The physics engine, for example, back in 2004, it blew people's minds. You could pick up objects, stack them, throw them, use them to solve puzzles. And the gravity gun? It wasn't just a gimmick, it was a game changer. Even today, messing around with that thing is a blast. The way you can interact with the world feels so natural and intuitive. It's a reminder of how much Half-Life 2 influenced the games that came after it. You can see its DNA in so many of today's titles, but Half-Life 2 still does it better than most. And let's not forget the pacing. This game knows exactly when to ramp things up and when to let you breathe. 1 minute, you're in the middle of an intense firefight, and the next, you're exploring a quiet, abandoned building, piecing together what happened there. It never feels too slow or too fast. It's just perfectly balanced. Every moment in Half-Life 2 serves a purpose, whether it's to build tension, give you a chance to explore, or prepare you for what's coming next. Even now, after all these years, it's hard to find a game that gets pacing this right. The AI in Half-Life 2 is another thing that still holds up incredibly well. The Combine soldiers aren't just mindless enemies. They're smart. They'll flank you, take cover, and work together to take you down. It makes every encounter feel like a real challenge, and you can't just run and gun your way through. You have to think, adapt, and use your environment to your advantage. It's impressive that a game from 2004 has AI that's still this good, and it's a big part of what makes the combat so satisfying. And we've got to talk about the characters. Alex Vance, Eli Vance, Dr. Kleiner, they're not just NPCs. They're characters you care about. Alex, in particular, stands out. She's not just a sidekick. She's a fully realized character with her own personality, her own motivations. Her relationship with you as the player adds a layer of emotional depth that's rare in first-person shooters, even today. These characters make the world feel alive. And their presence is one of the reasons why Half-Life 2 still resonates so strongly. Finally, there's the sheer innovation of it all. When Half-Life 2 dropped, it was pushing the boundaries of what games could be. The Source engine was a marvel, and it brought everything in the game to life in a way that was unprecedented at the time. But here's the thing. Even in 2024, it's not just about what Half-Life 2 did first. It's about how well it did everything. The attention to detail, the polish, the creativity, it's all there, and it's still impressive. In a world where games are getting bigger, more complex, and often more cluttered, Half-Life 2 is a reminder of what happens when a game is focused, polished, and confident in what it wants to be. There's no filler, no bloat, just a tight, unforgettable experience that's just as powerful now as it was 20 years ago. So, why should you play Half-Life 2 again in 2024? Because it's not just a game, it's a masterclass in game design. It's a game that transcends its era, a game that still has something to teach us, and most importantly, a game that's just as fun, engaging, and mind-blowing as it was the first time you played it. Whether you're revisiting it for nostalgia or diving in for the first time, Half-Life 2 is an experience that every gamer should have. And honestly, there's no better time than now to remind yourself why this game is still one of the greatest of all time.
Status invasion in progress in this